And it's official. It's official. Brian Callahan has left us. Again, we expected this outcome this all season, especially with how good we finished the year on offense, even without Joe Burrow. It was very clear that we were going to see our coaches get many opportunities outside of just being with us, right? And I'm happy and I'm excited for Brian Callahan. I mean, it kind of felt like this was just going to happen eventually anyway. Last year, it was most likely as close as we could have happened. And then this year, obviously, it fell. The domino fell, as they would say. So, this means Dan Pitcher, as long as, and I knock on wood now too, we do not lose Dan Pitcher, which there's still a chance we lose Dan Pitcher because the Saints want to go ahead and make him their head coach. We're going to be moving forward with Dan Pitcher. Now, we're probably still going to get very much the same when it comes to Zach Taylor calling the offense, and that's the only thing I will say, and I've made subjects before about if we didn't get rid of Dan Pitcher, if we lost Dan Pitcher and we got a new OC, potentially maybe they would call the plays and not Zach Taylor, and Zach would kind of let them, take the realm or take the heels, as they would say. But at the end of the day, who knows? Maybe Dan Pitcher is going to be the guy who does take control of this offense completely. Maybe Zach Taylor isn't going to help call the plays. Maybe Zach Taylor is going to just take a seat and let Dan Pitcher work. And, it's something new. It is something new. And I feel like this year this year and last year, kind of been very stale on offense. We've been the same old, same old. So, it sucks. There's no real easy way to put it because at the end of the day, losing Brian Callahan, who was the longest reigning, the longest head coach left in the NFL. I think he's been with us, I want to say 5.5 years, I believe it was. It's going to be new. Now, the only positive is this is coming in January, right? Obviously. We have 7-8 months before the season kicks off. So there's going to be plenty of time to kind of get, oriented with Dan Pitcher as the OC. And the good thing is, the only real positive thing I will say is that having Dan Pitcher as head coach, it's OC, not head coach, as OC is that the team knows him, right? Everyone knows him. Joe Burrow knows him. Tyler Boyd knows him. Tyler Boyd leaves. But T. Higgins, the offensive line, everyone knows him. So it's not like we're getting a fresh race in town where, everyone kind of has to get along and learn the new OC and see if they like him or they don't like him. Everyone loves Dan Pitcher. So it's not like we have to go through growing pains and go through that situation where some players might like him, some players might not like him, and then there's media attention and then things come out and all of this, things going on. We already know what we're getting with Dan Pitcher. We're getting a very good offense coordinator who is going, really good, potentially a really good offense coordinator. And we know that we're getting someone that the player and organization likes. And in all honesty, that's going to be the most positive way we can look at it. Because going into this season, going to next season, we can't have any distractions, right? This is a Super Bowl roster. We're going to have T back next year. Jamar Chase, the only players we're losing on offense potentially would be Jonah and would be Tyler Boyd. So at the end of the day, we can't have any distractions that would take us away from winning a Super Bowl next year. And I guess Dan Pitcher wouldn't be a distraction. He's kind of pretty much the, everyone loves him, everyone knows him, there's no problem. So hopefully everything gets figured out in that way. But I'll say to Tennessee, man, you're getting yourself a great head coach. You're getting yourself a great guy. And, good luck. I'll say it like that because at the end of the day, I'm going to support Brian wherever he goes. And if that is Tennessee, then I'm very happy for him. And I'm very happy he's continuing his legacy and his career and getting, that that obviously boosts and more money and more, everything. So this is kind of where coaches always want to go, whether you're an OC or DC or a specialist coach or a, positional coach. Eventually, the job is always to try to go get that GM/head coach job. Obviously, you want to get GM, but eventually you want to get head coach first and then work your way up to potentially GM. So this is just, especially with him, how young he is. Brian's a younger guy, especially compared to other coaches and other GMs. So, there's always a chance that he could work his way up to GM. And I will say for Tennessee, I said this before, I think it's going to be a tough job for him. Just because of the fact that he's going to be losing DeAndre Hopkins. He's going to have a Will Levis at quarterback, or maybe goes with Malik Willis or Ryan Tannehill. And I think their offense is very much in the, they're kind of like shaky on offense, but they have really good defense. And especially if he can get this offense going through the off season and through all that, then I think he could be a really, that team can get going. And he's going to an AFC South, which is not really that loaded. Obviously, the Texans are really good. I think the Colts will be good next season. But other than that, Jacksonville also. I don't want to trash them at all. They're a decent team. But it's not like any of those teams are the AFC North. He's not going to the AFC North. He's going to the polar opposite of the AFC North in the AFC South, where you usually see maybe one or two teams make the playoffs. One win the division, and maybe one makes a wild card, potentially. Again, like I said, potentially. So he's going to have an opportunity to not have to, go against the best competition. Titans are also going to have an easier schedule because of the fact that they finished last in their division. Also, their record was pretty crap, so he's not going to have to play the hardest schedule ever. And as a brand new head coach, that's pretty much the best thing you could have. Now, is he going to be able to replace Vrabel and how Vrabel was? I think Brian Callahan and Vrabel are complete opposites in this aspect. They're not the same type of person or same type of guy. Vrabel was a linebacker in the NFL. He was a linebacker for the Patriots and for a couple other teams. So I think that, there's different intensity when it comes to that. I will say I think that Brian's more calm, cool-headed, logical thinking in certain aspects than Vrabel was. So I think that's going to be positive for them in that aspect. Gives them a new culture, gives them a new team. And, I think Brian is a guy that, just like Vrabel here, that players respect. Players respect and players want to play for. And players think that, hey, listen, this is a guy that I can, get behind. So, it is what it is, man. Again, like I said, shout out to Brian Callahan. Hope you have a great career. Hope Tennessee treats you well. Dan Pitcher, you're now on the docket. Who day, who day.